FlySky radios, are they any good? Is it worth investing in? Are they worth it? Are they worth your hard-earned money? In a word, yes. Stay with me and I'll tell you why. Hey everybody, welcome back to RC with Adam. My name is Adam, and in this video, really I just want to share with you my thoughts on the FlySky FS-i6X radio. This is not really going to be a review video, and it's not going to be a comparison video. But what I want to do is I want to tell you, like, if you are just getting into the hobby and you're trying to look for transmitters and you're looking around trying to find a good budget one, and maybe you heard somebody talking trash about FlySky, but you're like, oh, I don't know, FlySky, is it any good or is it not? I'm here to tell you that I've had a good experience with FlySky. So look, if you were my friend and you said, hey Adam, what kind of transmitter should I get? I'm just kind of getting into the hobby. I don't even know if I'm really going to like it. But I want something where I can, kind of grow into it, but it's not top of the line. You know what I mean? I would say, friend, what you need to get is you need to get a FlySky FS-i6 transmitter, because I think that for the money, they're probably the best transmitter out there. Now, that's an important phrase, for the money, okay? And we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But the thing is that for around $60 now, I think, off of Amazon, you can get it cheaper if you want to get it like direct, like from Banggood or someplace like that. But then shipping takes a long time, and then you don't know if it's going to, arrive safely or in two halves. But anyway, so from Amazon, it's like $60, and I think that comes with a receiver for the transmitter. I think that's the IA6B receiver, I think, which is it's a great. You can use that actually for quadcopters as well as airplanes. So that's pretty good. And in fact, I'll leave a link to that below if you want to go check that out, as well as the other receivers that I use this radio for. So anyway, for around $60, you could even get a receiver already with it. You're getting a 10-channel radio, which means that you have the gimbal, so 4 channels on the sticks, and then you have 3 2-position switches, and then 1 3-position switch, and then 2 little twisty knobs just for fun. And you could set those up for whatever you want. You have all kinds of modes. You can store several different types of, basically bind several different types of receivers. I think 20 or some number like that. And man, 20, I'm not going to have 20 airplanes sitting around, at least not yet, maybe, I don't know. And you can set up regular airplanes. You can set up V-tail airplanes. You can set up flying wings. You can do quadcopter stuff. You can do all kinds of stuff with the trimming, with the sub trim. You can set up an arming switch for your motor, like even for airplanes, which is pretty cool. It took me a little while to think of doing that, and then I realized that you could do that, and it's good because then you don't chop your fingers off. And so you can get a lot out of this radio. And I think now the next thing that someone's going to say is like, okay, well, do I want to spend $60, right, and get a budget radio? It's a budget radio. Or do I want to spend like 120, 150, maybe 200 something, and getting something, a FlySky, maybe an X-Lite, maybe a Tyrannus, maybe even a QX7, I think runs around 130, I think, right now. So really, you're talking about paying twice as much for as a beginner to do the same stuff, because really a lot of what is in the upper end radios, you're not going to notice, or you're not going to know how to use, or even want to use as a beginner. Now, listen, I'm not knocking higher end radios. In fact, I'm looking to upgrade this radio eventually, but for the past 3 years, it has served me quite well for all the types of flying that I've been wanting to do. And that's really where you have to consider the price. So, is this radio as good as a Tyrannus QX7? Well, I'm not actually sure, because I don't have one to compare it to. But no, I can tell you it won't be. The build quality won't be as good. The gimbals won't be as good. You won't have the same software, so it won't be as customizable. There aren't as many switches, or even the FlySky X-Lite, which I'm actually thinking about getting to replace this one. Is that going to be better? Yeah, it's going to be better, because you can put all kinds of modules and stuff, and do all kinds of other things with. But for the price, you know, that those are different price ranges, so you can't really compare them directly. Now, speaking of modules, another cool thing is that, and I think something that I'm going to look into is, you know, I have all these receivers that I bought for the FlySky. So FlySky receivers for my quads, for my airplanes. And so I think the next question you might have is, well, if I buy all these receivers for FlySky, you know, what am I going to do if I do decide to upgrade? Then I'm just going to have to, you know, I won't be able to use those receivers. Well, first of all, I think you can. I'm pretty sure there's a module that you can put on, like the FlySky or Taranis or whatever kind of radio you choose to get, that allows you to use the FlySky receivers, which is pretty cool. Because, you know, you might rack up, you know, maybe, you know, a couple $100 in receivers if you have several different airplanes and quadcopters, and then you'll still be able to use them if you get the module. And even if you don't, you'll still have a great either a backup kind of radio package, or just as like a loaner. You know, if somebody else wants to get into RC stuff, but you know, they want to try it out, but they don't want to invest any money yet, you can be a super awesome dude and, you know, let them borrow your transmitter and a bunch of receivers. So to me, it's not that big of a deal. I think that's probably what I'll do when I upgrade. Now, here's another reason why you might want to go, if you're just getting started, why you might want to go with the FlySky as opposed to some other sort of higher quality but also higher price radio, like the Taranis or FlySky or Spectrum, if you choose Spectrum. And the reason why is because you don't know what you want if you're just getting started. You don't know what kind of features you want to look for in a radio, what you like, what you don't like. And for me, I've like I said, I've been flying this radio for about 3 years, so I've really been able to kind of tell like what I like, what I don't like, how many switches I need, you know, what I generally, you know, like to use. And like one thing about this radio is it's actually quite slim. A lot of other radios for some reason are just very fat and just bulky, and this one's pretty slim, and I really like that. The other thing is like, you know, I've tried pinching, you know, holding the sticks while pinching, but it just doesn't feel right. So I'm actually really interested in the FlySky the FlySky X Lite, which is like kind of more like a game controller, kind of looks like a PlayStation controller type of setup. And so it's not great if you like to pinch the sticks, but if you use your thumbs, then it's pretty good. Now, of course, something to keep in mind about buying a radio like this is that it is a budget radio, and the build quality is not as good as more expensive radios. But for me, it's worked fine. I mean, I have not had any switches break. The gimbals have been fine. I mean, you know, I've treated it pretty well, but you know, it's gotten bashed around a little bit. I haven't dropped it too much. But you know, if you make you know, like a little gimbal cover, like I have here, little gimbal protector that I made out of Instamorph. You can go check out a video about that. I'll put a link right there. And then, you know, your gimbals are protected, and this radio will probably last you a whole lot longer that way. One last thing I want to leave you with here is that some kind of gear theory, I guess you could say. So if you're just getting into the hobby, the thing is that you have to think about, you're not just buying one little item, you're buying a whole system, you know, and incorporating that. So what I mean is, in order to fly, you need your transmitter, you need your receiver, you need your airplane or quadcopter, you need propellers, you need a battery, you need probably some other stuff, maybe some tools, maybe a hot glue gun, maybe a soldering iron. So the thing is when you're first getting started, in order to actually get up in the air as quickly as possible, you need to have all these things and be able to buy them, you know, pretty much at the same time, because it wouldn't be that fun to be like, oh, cool, I got this, you know, $200 transmitter, but I'm not going to be able to, you know, build or fly anything, you know, until like a couple months, you know, once I get the money to buy the rest of the stuff. Buying a budget radio like this one can go a long way toward being able to buy other stuff, you know, foam board, hot glue gun, receivers, electronics, all that kinds of stuff that you need to actually fly. All right, that's about all I have to say about the FS-i6X. I hope this video was helpful to you if you were trying to decide what kind of radio you want to get. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to this channel already, consider doing so if you like what you see and you want to see more. And if you have subscribed, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. And I'm looking forward to a new year. So happy new year. In fact, this is the first video of the year. Wow, that's pretty cool. And how do you like the set? I'm farther away from the wall, so I feel like it works pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with it. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.